Get some questions from you guys as far as sales objections, things that you can't overcome on the phone. Even if you are about to start an agency, you kind of have to get primed with how you're going to answer objections because there's going to be a ton. So I kind of just want to go around and see if you guys, any questions you want to start off with as far as like what you've heard on the phone, maybe objections that you can't overcome, and see if I can help you like find a good framework for it.
The biggest objections that I get is for trust. Like either I need to do my due diligence. That's like one of the biggest ones.
Okay.
So yeah, like trust objections like that.
Okay. So is the trust behind the results or is it behind you?
Well, so that's what we get into. So the rebuttal for that is, okay, no problem. I'm going to send you an email after the call anyway so you can have some more information. But usually people tell me that when they just don't have enough information. So do you feel like there's something that I haven't explained, or do you feel like maybe our system doesn't work?
No, it's not this. I mean, you've proven the concept that it works. I think that the biggest thing I would say too is like you ask them then a question where you would say, listen, like, I know that you want more information, but like, what are the 3 biggest things that you would want me to answer right now that would make this decision easier for you? Because then you're kind of putting the ball in their court where they have to give you a good response.
Okay.
Because if you ask them for 3 things and they can't come up with 3 things, then they look foolish. So now you're kind of like gaining leverage on the conversation.
And also many times, like since I'm working with loan officers, they have to get their managers involved to make a decision, and they're not always on the call. So that also makes it a little bit more difficult.
What do you mean by a manager?
So like there's usually like a non-producing LO that manages like 4 or 5 loan officers, and those are the people actually paying and making the decisions. So.
Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah.
Are you calling them before the appointment?
Yeah.
Are you telling them that the person should be there?
Yeah, so like in the funnel that I was showing you, I was like, are you able to make decisions or do you need somebody else there? And sometimes they'll put in, yes, I need my business partner, and we'll try to get them on the phone.
I mean, the biggest thing that I would do is try to get them to sign something on the phone. Because it's like, okay, like, does this make sense today? Like, do you have the budget for this? Even if this LL person doesn't approve, we can work things out after you sign this obligation. Like, I would just want to get some type of deliverable from them on the phone. Like, even if it's like a deposit, like it's got to be something that gives them a tangible way to be included into the contract. Like, whenever I get on a call, I'm not leaving without something. Like, it's just got to be something that you give me where my closing rate stays very high. Because as soon as you let them off the phone, like, now you have to wait for a second person to come into the conversation that isn't on the calendar. So now you have way more friction.
True. So that's like one obstacle, but even then, when I get the decision maker on the phone, the issue is like, okay, cool, I'm going to check out your website so I can see like testimonials.
That's stupid.
I know.
Okay, so then are you on Zoom with them?
Yes.
So then you share your screen and you just like go over, be like, hey, listen, do you have a couple minutes? Okay, we can go through this right now. I would just when you get objections, you got to think about the quickest way to get them to be like, okay, this is sufficient. Because if they say they took it, dude, they're just kicking the rock down the road. They're not like, they just want to look at a website, even though like you just proved the concept to them. It's like we don't use websites anyway. So it's like we use funnels. Like when these guys on my sales team get that objection, we make them go to my Instagram. That's why like having a personal brand is important with this. Not like going full flung, but like having all the highlights on your IG of like results and all that, where you can say to the client like, hey, listen, like you have your phone? Okay, pull it out, go to Instagram and go to the results thing right here. I don't have a website because we convert more people through funnels, which I've proven the concept to you, but what I can show you is all of the real proof that I have on Instagram that you literally can't fake. Like people are sharing my stuff on their story and I'm just adding it to my story highlights. And that's how like Jordan and them right now are building a script, basically like having the client do that on the call. And the closing rate's higher with that. Because you can fake screenshots on a landing page. You could fake video testimony, that's kind of hard. Like that's tough. But you can't fake Instagram story shares. That's
like,
tough.
At the end of the call, we have a testimonials page on our website, and we'll literally share our screen. Yeah, check out all these people, their NMLS numbers, they're real people, their faces are on there, like with results.
How many case studies do you have?
I have like 9 or 10 on one page. Of all of their own niche, like they're all loan officers.
Okay. And then once you show them that, is that still an objection? Of
yeah,
like,
they're like, do you care if I call them? I'm like, why do you need it to talk? Like, so like.
well, that's where you say like, hey, for legal purposes, like you can't because of NDA reasons.
Yeah.
Like you're having them sign contracts now, so that would include like a non-disparagement agreement, which is like an NDA.
I mean, obviously we can't really stop them from calling, like, and we tell them that. It's like, hey, I can't stop you from calling, but our clients get super annoyed when every prospect wants to call them. Just so
That's not a good answer though, because then it seems like you're hiding something.
Well, I put it out there. I'm like, hey, I can't stop you. Like, if you want to call them, I guess I can't stop you, but there's all their information. Like, their license numbers are there, their photos are there, their results.
Okay. I mean, the other thing too is what I'm actually going to start transitioning into is I know like these case studies, you have like just videos of them, or are you on a split Zoom call? You know how you can like do the split on a Zoom call where you can show both faces and you're talking?
Yeah.
I would like, if you're getting video testimonials, like do the Zoom call with the client so that you're on there and they're on there, like you literally can't bullshit at that point. That's been huge. Tanner Chiser taught me that.
Can you explain that? I'm still kind of confused.
So like on Zoom, you have your face, but on the top right-hand corner, you can click your view, which is like standard or gallery.
Yeah.
So you just pick gallery, and now it's going to have all of the little boxes of everybody, which is only going to be 2 because it's you and the client.
Right.
But when you hit record, if you don't use gallery, you can't see the other person's face in the view. So when you hit gallery and click record, now it's split screened. So you can see the client, and they have their name there, to where you literally can't bullshit it.
Like, the prospect on the phone, like, I can see their faces.
Well, not the prospect, your client for video testimonials.
Oh, okay,
like, when you're done getting them X result, you say, hey, listen, I'm so excited you're getting these results. Could you hop on a quick Zoom call with me so we can go over it?
Ah, like an interview kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah, and then you're just split screen with the client. You're like, listen, like, you've been with us for 3 months. You know, tell us about the results. You just freaking record it, and that's your testimonial. Like, people are starting to get a little bit smarter with the testimonial thing. They're starting to catch on. Like, people are trying, like, custom graphics, you know, like, to do the whole case study in this. But, like, you can just take those screenshots off Google Images. Like, that shit doesn't, I don't know. Some people are getting, like, a little bit more, like, objection-based with those kind of screenshots and, like, results. So that's why I'm transitioning to do, like, Zoom split screens. Because it's just more real. Like, you can't be like, yeah, it's bullshit. Like, you literally can't.
So, and that's how I feel too when I'm on the call, because it's like, dude, all the results are there, their real license numbers are there, but like, how do I handle that?
Then there's, I mean, the other side of the coin is, like, do you build rapport in the beginning of the call? Are you framing the call? Like, what are you saying in the beginning of the call that's leading them to the end there? So what I usually start was like, listen, like, we're gonna go over this and this, and if all these boxes check, are you okay moving forward today? And you're framing the end of the call. Because then at the end, if they're like, you know, oh, you know, we can't, we got to do this. I'm like, listen, you told me in the beginning that if all the boxes checked, that you would move forward today. So there's got to be a reason why you're not. Because if you don't frame the beginning of the phone call, they just think it's like some corny discovery call. And people will say that thing too. I don't know if you guys ever got this objection, but it's like, oh, I thought this was just like to get information. I'm like, yeah. Dude, are you serious? It's a 45-minute.
Hey, this is a real client that we use. And then this is how the leads come in. It's like a 10-question lead form. And then this is how we convert them into appointments. Do you have any questions?
I mean, do you ask them about like, do you show them Ads Manager too?
No.
Do they ever give you the objection of like, how, like, because they might still be uneasy about how it works if they don't see how the traffic actually is generated. Now, I'm not saying for you to go into Ads Manager and be like, click the create button, like show them. No, like no. But like showing them how the results have came in and how like simple, maybe you just show them like a graphic or something of how simple it is. You don't show them the whole thing, but like you kind of just go through that. And then you talk about the tracking, you talk about, you know, the ad spend, you talk about how you spend this amount of money to generate this. Like, I know you can see that with the attribution report when you go high level.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we're actually very vague about it, to be honest, because only, I'd say like maybe 1 in 5 people really ask that question. So it's like, we'll show them the landing page, and it's like, this is the page where we get all of our traffic from. And I'll just take them through it, they can see it. And usually people don't ask that question, but for people who are kind of like savvy with ads, they're like, okay, so explain. And then I'll go in detail.
Yeah.
But most people don't really care.
Now, the other thing is, do you do the numbers for them, though? This is a big part. Okay. So, like, these people, they're still uneasy because they don't know how it's actually going to help them, because they're thinking, oh, like, you're just going to get me leads? Yeah, you'll get me booked appointments, but not everybody's going to book an appointment. You got to go over their current numbers. Like, what I do is I would say, listen, like, How much are you making a month right now? Okay. How many appointments are you generating a day? I'm generating 3 appointments. Like, let's say, for example, right? I'm making 10 grand a month and I generate 3 appointments a week, which is like pretty bad based on the results that you're getting. So 3 appointments a week, and I'm on the phone and I'm like, and you say to me, listen, like, what if we got you 3 appointments a day, 2 appointments a day, even 1 appointment a day? Because if you're getting 3 appointments a week, that's 12 appointments a month. At 10 grand a month, if I get you 1 appointment a day, that's what do you expect it to make? Well, if I had 1 appointment a day, that's almost 3 times as much. That's going to be about 27 to 30 grand a month. Well, if you were making an extra 17 to 20 grand a month, would that be worth paying 2, 3, 4 grand for? Would you flip 2, 3, 4 grand for 17? That's a 4 ROAS. Why would you not do that? Like, that's why I do the numbers for them on like that sense.
We actually have like a calculator that we kind of use to like show them the price. So we go based off appointments. So like if I type in, like 30 is the minimum. And
Okay.
So I'll be like, okay, so 100 is the max in your state, which is not true, but we kind of use it as like an urgency. So it's like, okay, so for 100, it's going to be 6 grand. But obviously that's the max, like you don't have to do that. So if I type in like 50, and then it will show them like how many deals on average you're going to get and the profits on that.
So for number reasons too, don't throw big figures at them like that. Like 100 appointments is 6 grand, they're only looking at $6,000. I would look at, I would say instead, hey, you want 100 appointments a month, it's going to require this daily ad spend. Because if you just say 100 appointments for 6 grand, they're only looking at $6,000. They're overwhelmed by that figure. Because you're talking about 6,000 in ad spend, right? Or is that the monthly retainer?
That's like, we do a flat rate because when I try to do like ad spend plus retainer, they're like, wait, now I have to pay more for the ads. So I feel like actually when I pitch a flat rate, they're like, okay, cool. That's like more simple to them, at least in my experience.
Okay. I mean, personally, like I've had that kind of pushback, but I do the tax route with it. I'm like, listen, like we don't want to pay for your ad spend because you're not getting a write-off. You want that advertising expense because you can write it off for advertising and research and development. So you get 2 tax write-offs with your ad spend. And that's how I angle it. Also, it's like you want it on your card anyway. Like you can build your credit, you could like, I just throw shit at them, but like you can build your credit, you get your tax write-offs, you get points. Like why would you want me to get all your points and all your cash back? What's the point of that? And like, some people want it to be on your card because they're like, all right, I'm just going to pay this fee. It includes the ad spend, then they move on. But like, there's some people though who want it on their card because then they get to control it. They get that sense of control. And people like that. People don't want to give up their possession or control of like whatever they are spending money on. Like, yeah, it's a flat rate. But at the same time, like people like control. None of my clients ever pay a flat. Nobody does. They all put the ad spend on their card.
How do you handle billing? Like in terms of like when people's cars decline and stuff? Cause
so that's another thing that I'll get into with this, but we can go into it right now, honestly. So with billing, I basically have a paralegal. So I know you guys were talking about getting a lawyer. When cards fail, I have this person that I found on Upwork. Okay, so when you are looking for some type of legal security when you're scaling, I went on Upwork and I just found like a servicing attorney, okay? But they're a servicing attorney that is, so they're a paralegal, but they're getting notarized by a servicing attorney. So the paralegal, like for example, a law office will do this. They'll hire paralegals for $20 an hour, right? You want to be a paralegal, $20 an hour. But on Upwork, they're going to charge me $27 an hour, $28, and they're taking that $8 an hour difference. So an attorney office will put their paralegals that are extra, that they want to make extra money off, and they put them on like Upwork. I found a paralegal on Upwork. I said, listen, like, do you have a servicing attorney who can notarize stuff? Okay. So now when people don't pay, I have Antoinette just call them. Like, and it's literally like a legal attorney on the phone. Like, listen, you have to pay. You're in contract. Like, you signed this agreement. Like, you got to give us a new card on file. And she just, dude, the back rate is just so high.
no, but I mean on the Facebook account.
Oh, on the Facebook account. Okay.
Like, that's nice to know too.
That's also a good idea.
I mean, with that, we just basically will just remind them in Slack. Like, hey, your card like declined. Can you just go update it? Here's directions on how to do it. But the thing is that the reason why they go and do it is because they're in contract. They're not gonna just let the thing sit there and then they're getting billed.
Yeah.
Like that's just like that's the whole accountability part that's in the back end that they're signing up front. It just makes things smoother because like if you don't sign a contract, it's like, oh, you can do whatever the hell you want. It's like you could stay, you could, dude. We've had people who go month to month when we're scaling, and they take the funnel and run. They pay the first month, they run. And I'm like, wow, that's great. So what we'll do, like we just had a guy before we started doing contracts, a landscaping company. We built him a funnel. We set up his first 2 rounds of campaigns. He kicked us out literally the morning after we set up everything. And now he has campaigns running in a funnel. He changed the go high level password, and now we can't do anything because I don't have a contract. That's the kind of stuff that you will run into when you start getting more clients.
That just happened?
Maybe like 4 or 5 months ago. Yeah. Like people will do that stuff. Like it's pretty messed up, but.
Jason, are you charging clients for the funnel or when?
I'm just combining it. Yeah.
So I don't know, like I think you said your rate is like 2,500 to 4,000. So
Yeah.
Then that it's already kind of like an inference that you're gonna build on the landing page.
Well, yeah, we include that in the deliverable, but obviously it costs more for a landing page people because we're doing the automations, we're writing the copy, we're doing all like the funnel design, because we do like custom code on most of the pages.
That down for them?
Yeah, on the call, yeah, because when they get that invoice or the contract, like they see the bullet points of what it includes. They know what their ad spend's gonna start at. They know the ad spend's not on us because we get that objection too. It's like ridiculously annoying. And then we get, their landing page, their automations, their ads, the tracking, all that.
Right. But let's say you're charging them like $1,000, $1,500 for the funnel. Are you charging them every month as part of this monthly package, or is it like a one-time fee?
Well, the thing is that building a funnel is not cheap.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like you split it up so that when they're in that 3-month contract, they feel like they're spending less, but like they still have to pay for that thing. It's not like, okay, yeah, if you take this thing and run, if you're going month to month, they're just gonna dip. Like, or you charge them whatever 7 to 10 grand for the funnel up front, which, I mean, it depends on what kind of client you're talking. Well, no, I'm just giving you an example. Like if you charge that amount up front to where it's like, they might just take the thing and run where you don't get any reoccurring because you don't get to show them results or run the ads or whatever the case may be.
Why did you say it's annoying that the ad spend is not on you?
What do you mean?
You were just saying just now, it's like, or sometimes like they find out that the ad spend is not on us, and that's kind of annoying.
Oh yeah, because some of them they'll get into the program and they're like, oh, like I thought like you guys would pitch me some type of credit for my ad spend. I'm like, where did you get that from? Like people just once they're done with that sales call, some of them like just get this completely different perception. Or they think something, because you know what it is? It's like, okay, I talked to the salesperson, but now I'm talking to someone new. So maybe I could try this angle and try to squeeze something in on someone who's new who wasn't on the sales call.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, he's saying it's annoying that people think that, not that it's annoying that we don't do it.
No, that's what I'm saying. I was asking why he said that.
Yeah.
And then Facebook bills them like different amounts all the time, so like they'll call up like, yo, why did I just get charged $600?
They don't understand that it's like they're verifying their card.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. Dude, that's one of the annoying things that we have.
Long after, so sometimes like they say, hey, can we pause the ads for a little while? And then like two weeks later, they get another charge. They're like, oh.
Yeah, well that used to happen, but now we have contracts. Now it's like, if you pause, you still got to pay us. I'll sit here all day, but you got to pay. But then they start trying to bargain with the billing. They're like, oh, if we stop ads for 7 days, can we get a break? I'm like, no, we don't get a break. If you don't drive your car for a week, does your car payment just let you slide for 7 days? No. And that's the thing too. You have to put them in the mindset of, this is like every other expense that you have. That's like, with good analogies, the other analogy you can use is like their rent. Like if you don't live in your place for 2 weeks, your landlord's not going to be like, oh, you didn't stay here for 2 weeks. I'll push your billing date. Don't worry. No, that's not how it works. It's crazy. But they think that because you're an agency, it's like, oh, you're replaceable. And that's like kind of the sucky part, honestly, is that like they think that you're just like replaceable and they can just go somewhere else because there's so many ad agencies and X, Y, and Z that they can go to. So it's like, but that's why having that legal accountability. Like that's what we had to start doing with the chargebacks, was having that paralegal there to be like, okay, if someone does a chargeback, she's calling them right away. Like, hey, listen, like if you don't return the money, like we're gonna do something. It's not gonna be fun. And like, dude, people pay. Because I'm not gonna do a service and then someone comes back to me and is like, yeah, chargeback. And I'm like, dude, you didn't say anything to us. You never complained. You just ghosted and did a chargeback. That's ludicrous. That's not professional. Like I had a client 2 days ago who's in the middle of like this thing with his partner and they're like fighting. And the billing goes through and he texts me, he's like, yeah, well, I'm not really working with this person anymore. I'm like, when did this happen? He's like, 2 days ago. I'm like, dude, that has nothing to do with me right now. I just billed the card on file. He's like, I want you to refund it. I'm like, okay. So then I call the other partner. I'm like, hey, like what's going on? And then she then starts yelling about him. I'm like, I'm not in this relationship. I'm not in this at all. I'm just the person who's running your ads and scaling your business. Like we got to figure out what card we're using. And then she's like, no, don't refund him. The card's going on like his thing. And then he says to me, he's like, well, if you don't refund it, I'm going to call my bank. I said, listen, man, if you call your bank, it's not going to be fun. And I like got him on the phone. I was like, listen, man, like this has nothing to do with me. Like you and this person are partners. Like, yeah, we're your like agency partner, but like I'm not signed on the LLC. I have nothing to do with this. So figure it out. Like sometimes when clients try to walk all over you, you gotta kind of like have that pushback, like that aggressiveness. Like I just said to him, like, listen, man, like this is not a daycare. Like I'm not getting in the middle of this. This is ridiculous. Like I don't have time for this. Like you two figure it out. You let me know what card, but don't penalize me because I'm not in the relationship. That's crazy. And then I calmed him down, and he was like, yeah, I get it. I'm like, well, let's hope. It's crazy.
So obviously you're way bigger than me, so you have like a servicing attorney. I've never even looked into something like that. So what would be the process for the attorney? They're just gonna call them and be like, hey, I'm an attorney. You have a contract?
Well, they know the legality in it. I let them, because I don't want to be a bottleneck in. I'm like, listen, you do your thing. You know the legal parameters of Florida State. Like, have a blast. Okay? If a chargeback goes through, your email is CC'd. You know, you can go in Stripe and look at it. Blah blah blah. So, I mean, I only pay like $25 an hour for this person. Now, it's not every day. Don't get it twisted. Okay? She's only working 10 hours a week, if anything. So I'm only paying like $1,000 a month for someone just to have my back. And like she'll do contracts, she'll do like the dispute management. Like for example, a client does a chargeback. She'll call the client and say, listen, here you got two options. You can either call your bank right now and merge me and cancel the dispute, or you can go through this route, which is not a fun route. And like she's able to deflect a lot of disputes because of that. Because she'll sit on the phone, like think about it. Sits on the phone for an hour, I'm paying $24, $25 an hour to save a couple $1,000 transaction. I'll trade that all day long.
Yeah.
And it's helped me like decrease my chargebacks by like over 200%. I mean, it's worth $1,000 a month. Because last year I lost over 100 grand in just chargebacks and refunds. And not having contracts. Like, dude, that killed me. I was like so depressed when I looked in Stripe. And I scrolled down and I was like, damn, that's what happened last year? And I was like, yeah, we got to fix that.
It's weird to hear you say that you didn't have any agreements or contracts.
No, I didn't. Because honestly, like, I was so dedicated to...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just so dedicated to, like, just being empathetic with people. But then I started getting taken advantage of, and I'm like, dude, this is not cool. Like, I just can't do this.
That's where I'm at right now.
When did you start doing contracts?
Like, 4 months ago?
4 months ago?
Yeah, like, probably towards the middle of
Why'd you take so
December. Why'd I take so long? Because I wasn't really having any issues at scale. Like, we were doing okay, but then the dispute rate started to climb a little. I'm like, oh no, oh no. And then I was like, all right, we got to do this. And then that landscaping thing was like the last straw for me. Yeah. Yeah, it was really annoying.